Hi everyone, it's Joel from 8400 Lights. Now I like to change and add things to my display from year to year. It always seems to grow a little bit bigger. So today I thought I would give you a quick behind the scenes tour of the new elements that I have added for our 2020 light show. This is one of the new props I created this year. I've had these Wreath templates for a number of years. Let's see if we can zoom in here a little bit on this. You can just kind of see the framework. And hadn't done anything with them, and finally decided I needed to do something with them. So just simply put some red and blue LED lights on them. These are not pixels. Did not get anything that fancy because I haven't gone into pixels yet. But just put some red and blue lights on them. They actually look pretty cool at night. Have a little bit of motion to them as I can change back and forth. And have two of those. So I put one on each side of my garage lights. And I have the other one hung over here. The same kind of thing. If you've listened to any of my other videos, you'll notice that I tend to put my controllers in bins on the ground where I can lay them horizontally and stack about 3 controllers in a bin, and that has always been really good for being able to keep elements out. And then on the sides of the bins, I'll show you, I typically will drill holes and put these flaps over so I have a way to get wiring in and out. But as these bins have started to age a little bit and get some cracks in them, I have had a couple of issues with water penetrations. So this year I decided I was just going to get some large garbage bags as another layer of protection and wrap all of my bins in the garbage bags. And that has worked out very well. The one tip that I would tend to give people is make sure you buy the very large, like 55-gallon garbage bags. And if you buy anything smaller than that, you either won't fit over a bin or you'll have a really hard time getting them on and off. And that was a mistake that I made the first time. This was a very late addition to my display this year, in that I decided to build one of these matrix-based Tune 2 signs. I've seen a lot about these in the last couple of years and thought, what the heck? I have this window here on the side of the garage that thought would be perfect for this. It's a matrix that's 2 panels high and 2 panels wide, so it's 4 panels total, and these are P5 panels. Was actually very easy to do and get up and running, so it's been an easy incorporation into the show. And I'll show you what the backside of this looks like as well. This is the backside of my matrix. Again, it's a 2x2, so a 4-panel matrix. Have a power supply there on the right side, and then it is run by a BeagleBone Black with a cape on it just to run the 2 panels. Was advised that was probably the best way to go on this, even though this is a really pretty small display for panels. But it runs nice. It fits really well in this window frame. And then to secure it in place on the window frame, I just went out and got 2 spring-loaded curtain rods that fit nicely in my window frame and provide a little bit of tension. There's one there, and there's one on the top, and keeps the panel snug nice against the glass, and it works really well. Then to cover up the window, I just went out and got a really inexpensive black towel from my local Target and taped it to the top of the wall there, so that if I need to access the matrix, I can just come down and pull the towel and get access to the matrix itself here. There it is. And otherwise, the towel provides a nice backstop when looking at the matrix from the outside, so you don't see any of the activity or lights from the inside of the garage. Now, I've had these mini trees in my show for a number of years, but I've always kind of displayed them in a rather random fashion, so every year they tended to look a little different. And this year I thought I would experiment with putting them in a straight line instead. And so far I tend to really like this, I think, better than the more random setting I had them in before. This is a series of snowflakes. I have 8 of them. Again, had them in more of a pattern of 4 and 4 last year, coming down the side of the house. And this year I decided to arrange them again in a straight line, much like I have done with my mini trees. So we'll see how they look this year, but so far I've been very pleased. This is another set of mini trees. This is a set of 16 mini trees that, again, in years past I've had arranged in more of a random fashion, because I thought that random effect would be kind of cool. Have decided this year to change that up and make these in just a straight line instead. So now I have a line of these 16 mini trees, and we'll see how that works out. This is one of 2 wireframe puppies that I've had for a number of years. Had the wireframes for a while with no lights on them, and decided, what the heck am I waiting for? Had some extra lights this year, so went ahead and put some lights on this one. In this case I used little M5 type LEDs in a couple of different colors to do this one. And then I have one more of them over this way, and here is the other one. Very similar to the first one, only this time for this guy I used some LED rope light that I had left over. So these are new to the display this year. Now, I've had these 10-foot spiral trees in my display for a number of years now, and I really like them. They've turned out very well. But this year I decided to add a new feature to them, in that in addition to the spiral tree, I added what are called a Z-tree effect to it, where I have lights that go around at predetermined heights here. You can see these kind of blue lights where the green is the spiral, the blue just stays horizontally, and I have 8 horizontal channels so it can go up and down and change colors. So the up and down is blue on this one versus green on the spiral. And so I'm really excited to see how that is going to turn out in the show. The programming for it looked really well. So here's another one where I have the spiral lights are in blue, and then the Z-tree effect, or the horizontal effect, is in red on this particular one. And then with this third one here, we have the spiral lights being in red, and then the Z-tree or horizontal lights being in green. So again, I wasn't sure how that effect was going to look when I put it in, but it looked really good in the sequencing, so I'm very excited to see how it's going to turn out in the actual show. This double bell is another large wireframe that I've had sitting around for years, unused. And so this last summer I made a project of cleaning it up, because it had been pretty much all rusted, giving it a nice coat of paint, and then going ahead and putting some LED lights on it. So because this is so large, and we'll zoom into this here, I've got 2 different bells that are outlined with red LEDs, you can see, and they're on individual channels. And then I've got the bow on the top here is on a separate channel that is outlined in pink LEDs. So that way I can actually have an effect where the bells are ringing back and forth and have the bow on continuously while the bells are on. So that's made a nice new effect for the show. One of the other videos that I have on my channel talks about how I replaced my controller cables that go between the individual lighting control units this year with an outdoor rated Cat 5 cable. And I know this isn't very exciting to sit here and look at a wire on the ground, but here is one of the new control cables that I've installed. And again, so far this year, I think it's made an incredible improvement in the quality of the show. I'm really not seeing any of the lags or delays or controller dropouts. And as I talk about in my other video, the case on this particular cable is much sturdier and thicker than in a standard Cat 5 cable. Plus it has UV protection as well as waterproof tape in it as well. So I'm going to be very interested to see how these cables will hold up over time as compared to just a regular standard indoor Cat 5 cable. These technically aren't new this year, but I've had these snowflakes for a while, as well as these shooting stars, and had them more down at a level inside this area here with my Marty fans and some other lights that I have outlining this area in the backyard, and they just tended to get lost. They just didn't stand out very much. They weren't very tall off the ground with all of this other props and lights going on here. So I went ahead and just strung some cable between my pine trees back here and have hung these up off of these cables so they get some height to them, and they're much more visible in the show now, and I really like them being here at this height much better. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this quick behind-the-scenes tour of the new elements that we've added for our 2020 light show. Please check out our other videos on our YouTube channel, 8400 Lights, and have a wonderful holiday season.